Hello, beautiful Aries. This is Mary Ellen. Welcome back to Moonrise Cottage for your December 2017 Soul Tarot reading. I'm very pleased to be with you, and I'm starting with an image today. Spirit is chattering already in the background and wanted to have you peer, if you will, into this image. And what I'm getting is uptake the sensation, meaning the vibrational message, while I do my intro. So again, welcome. I am a clairvoyant person. I am here for anyone who is new. Welcome. It's really wonderful to have you here. I channel messages from Spirit using the cards. If anybody would like to have a personal reading, and people have been asking me about gift certificates or gifts for holiday time, of course, that's totally fine. Just send me a message and let me know. If you would like a personal reading, if you would like a consultation, if you would like to sign up for the live stream event and the annual subscription, which is very cost effective, scroll below the video, click on the words show more. A large box of information opens up. That is actually a tab. I'm going to toggle over so you can see me. Hi, everybody. And so all the information you need is right there. If you have any questions or you want something a little different than the choices that are provided, always feel free to ask. It's completely fine. I tried to be as flexible as possible. So for folks, again, that are new, these messages build upon each other month to month. There's been a beautiful story unfolding during the year of 2017. And here we are in the last days of that unfolding. And that's what Spirit is already streaming through to me about. So if you haven't seen the prior videos, it's a good idea to go back a couple of months and just check them out. So you have a Spirit saying, just a bit of an idea about what your soul progress and your human journey that is related to your soul journey, what that has been about. It's been very pointedly about a particular type of development for you in 2017. So, having come through all the portals and all the eclipses and the various, Spirit's talking about the power of the full moon cycles that have come out, and we've seen it in the cards. The journey that you are completing has been very profound for you, Aries. You've had to come into a more balanced set point. And Spirit's talking about perspective of how you understand yourself and your energy set point and the purpose of that energy set point here on the earth, as Pluto in the first house of Capricorn helps us to shift and change and bring the upheaval that is needed so that new growth can come. That's the story that we've been unwinding according to Spirit. And as a fire sign, your energy, the intensity of your spiritual warriorship, if you will, has to do with passion. And last month, there was a beautiful shamanistically led journey in which you came to a new shore inside yourself. And so Spirit is going to continue on that message. I'm going to toggle back. Let's take a look at the meaning of the King of Battle. This is a beautiful card. And Spirit's telling me, a couple things about it. There's a notion that is wrapped up inside the mythology of this card, but wanting to acknowledge you as a fire warrior set point, having come into the deepest, most mystical aspects of your energy. So this is the first card that sits over the top of the reading. I'm going to toggle back and show it to you. All right. That is the beautiful King of Battle. Sitting in the mystical realm and in the light of the full moon, and that's what Spirit's chattering about. The cycles of the moon, very important for you this year, Aries. So this gentleman sits here on the earth, but clearly he is in the mystical realm. And as you can tell, he looks as though he's sitting in a graveyard. His story is one that is akin to your own, Spirit says. He was a warrior, a king. His hand was severed in a battle, and he lost his rightful throne. He was not allowed to be sitting on the throne. Spirit's talking about a lack of wholeness, meaning some part of him having been severed. And so the message for the end of this year for you is about that has been your journey to reclaim yourself and to reclaim your birthright and your energy set point. The word that's coming is prophecy. All right. So Spirit's already talking to me a little bit about next year. I'm going to try to focus in on this month because it's important. And, gods and goddesses willing, I'll be here in January to speak with you about what's going to happen in 2018. So through a mystical process, one of his most dedicated followers fashioned for him a silver hand, and he wore it and allowed him to reascend to the throne. And then through a magical healing process, his original hand, or his new hand, Spirit says, regrew the part of him that was severed. And that is your story. And that is why this card that indicates the theme of the reading, the light from the spirit world, if you will, shining upon your journey this month, illuminating your pathway, is the King of Battle, who had to go through his own sort of death and regrowth process to deepen his understanding and ability of himself and of the style and nature of his leadership here on the earth, clearly, but also suspended, in a sense, in the mystical realm. And one of the things this gentleman did was he created a beautiful, Spirit's talking about the passage tombs, and in a particular way, through this gentleman, he created a dream chamber in order to enable people to enter and be plunged into darkness and cross over into the mystical realm through a process of centering, Spirit says, and preparing to make that journey. And so this month, Spirit has been talking, and actually since last month, about the process of preparing for the solstice. So that is going to be, Spirit says, dominating the message. And for you, this is the set point. You've reached the top of your ability. You have come through your shift and change. You have regained that which has been severed from you through this mystical process. And so Spirit wants to discuss that with you. That's a beautiful way to start the month, isn't it? So let me shift back, and I'm going to toggle over and show you the card that has to do with your aspect as you sit in this place, being illuminated through this energy. And Spirit says the notion that this idea embodies, if you will, the king being at the top, having reached your destiny in terms of development, and that's the story. So this is the card. I'm just going to toggle over. Look at that. The beautiful woman of art standing in the Boyne Valley, which is where these last 3 months, these messages have originated from. My trip to the Boyne Valley and into the beautiful passage tombs. If you haven't seen those readings, please go and look. It's very important. And, due to time, I try to keep it short. I can't reiterate all of that. But this is the beautiful goddess of the Boyne Valley. It is from her that the river originated. And if we look at this woman, she stands in the beautiful rolling hills, pasture land. And as Spirit has been talking about, the depth of your change, how deeply you went into the spirit realm. And now the solstice arrives. And when that happens, there is going to be a mystical event for all of us here on the earth. And Aries, for yourself, in this place Spirit's talking about the place in which you stand, but also the way in which you stand in your place. It is this beautiful understanding of the artistic and intuitive and creative parts of life. It brings forth the idea of a new life, a change, like a new birth in a sense. This woman is available to bring forth the change. And she is illustrating your energy set point as you walk your days into the solstice, and that is what Spirit is saying. So it is very important that you pay attention to your ability and the things that come to you intuitively in the dream time, in all the ways that you access the deepest aspect of yourself, because there she is. And Spirit's talking about her activation. Having traveled back and forth in this mystical journey, you arrive and you stand here on the earth in this way. It is beautiful, sacred, feminine energy, bringing abundance and creativity, holding abundance in your hand because of the activation that you have in your spirit, and clarity of vision. And the beautiful signification of bringing the flow across the earth, being this beautiful woman of art. And we see in her garment the indication that she is the river. And so, I've been talking, I guess, Spirit's been talking through me about the flow of energy that you have as an Aries and the importance of your set point, if you will, each of us. I'm an Aries rising, so I understand. And the thing that Spirit was talking about, coming so deeply into and the word that's coming is your natal set point. So when that kind of thing comes through, go look at your natal chart. Just look. Spirit wants you to understand a little more deeply. And perhaps, where things are positioned going into the solstice. So, as an Aries, it's fiery. It's beautiful. Passion. Will. The ability to go forward despite an obstacle. And there is a soft side of that nature. And that's what I see here. Let me toggle back. That Spirit wants us to evolve into the fullness of our ability to emanate that which is inside of us. And we see the beautiful indication of the sun arising on the day of the solstice. And on that day, your ability, I believe, will be solidified in this way. And you have the opportunity to take another soul journey in this way, fully bringing your activation in order to prepare you and your energy set point to serve those around you in the days going forward into 2018. That's a beautiful message. So let's continue to look at the cards together and think about those two things. And, as I've been saying, and Spirit's been indicating, I want you to understand all that's been said. Just take your moments. I know it's a lot. And just visually take in, Spirit says, the yin and yang nature. One stands on the earth in female form, in that energy set point, and the other sitting in the mystical realm in the light of the full moon, bringing, if you will, a sacred feminine aspect to the king of battle when it has to do with creativity and intuition and connection across the veil. And so Spirit's been talking a lot about the visual image of yin and yang, attempting to help us understand our internal set point of male and female energy that evolves into and out of itself simultaneously, bringing forward the energy, that is meant to flow through us as we cycle through our days here on this planet, connected to the mystical realm. And so to see these two come together is really beautiful. So if I'm going to show you the cards for the human walk, and I just want you to think about that just for a moment as I cue up the photo. So the King of Battle did go through a transition, a death in a way, and he sits in a graveyard. And so this message from the passage tomb is reiterated in your human walk. So I'm going to transition over and show you these cards, and you'll be just as astounded as I am. Look at that. So, last month you were on this shamanistically led journey that had to do with perfecting your energy. That was the outcome of last month's reading. A beautiful shift and change journey with a lot of deep knowledge and understanding being revealed to you in order to perfect your energy, to prepare you to meet the solstice. And right on the bottom left, the first card in the human walk, if you will, is the gorgeous warrior of battle. And this young man, again, male energy, look at that. Do you see the passage tomb and the sun coming up indicating the solstice right behind him? And his journey, sorry, the sun is now suddenly shining right in the window. All right, so that's the warrior of battle. His journey, his ability, his sword, all about the spiral of shift and change and growth. Isn't that beautiful? This is the aspect with which you walk your human adventure, approaching the solstice, being able to provide for humanity that which is needed. Open at the will center and the heart chakra and the beautiful sacred torque around your throat center. Strong and youthful, male energy, the impetus to go forward, having come through, Spirit's talking about coming through the passage tombs and the solstice. And so, the first three cards this month are all about that message. It's incredibly beautiful. So let me transition back because I want you to see it in context. The next card is the beautiful woman of knowledge. So, we're talking about the battles that we go through as a human, as a spirit warrior, coming through our own passageway, if you will. When the sun comes up on the solstice, for those of you that don't know, it illuminates the entryway to the passage tomb, in which souls were placed, first cremated, and then brought to the passage tomb and put into a ceremonial bowl in order to await the solstice, the day in which the pathway was illuminated so that souls could transition from the earthly realm into the next phase of their journey. And the very next card, this woman of knowledge, actually is picking, healing herbs and flowers. I'm going to show you the card. Hang on a second. Look at that. Do you see that stone? All right. Darn it all. Darn the sun. All right. All right. Spirit says just let it be illuminated. If you go and look, Aries, at the readings that came out of the Null Passage tomb, there's a picture of a stone that looks just exactly like that sits atop one of the ceremonial bowls in that passage tomb. Literally almost looks exactly the same. So what the woman of knowledge is doing, she is of the mystical realm, which we can tell by her beautiful garment and the light about her head. That's what the blonde hair indicates. It's not about so much, a Caucasian lady with blonde hair. Spirit always says it's about the light that she has about her. And we can see the light shining all around her. She is picking herbs and flowers from a gravestone. And the person that is buried there happens to be her brother. He was a healer. And he was the person that brought healing to the king of battle. And it's funny, Spirit's saying a replica of this stone, or this picture being a replica of one of the stones inside the Null Passage tomb. It's really beautiful. So go look at the readings for October, and you will see this image. It's literally the same. It has this the circles on it in the very same spot. It's very interesting. I didn't anticipate that. I didn't notice it at first, but it's what came out when I was doing the readings, and I began to realize. And so Spirit's talking about one other thing. I'm just going to divert for a moment because I want to show you, look at this in context for a moment. And Spirit is asking me to show you this image and think about that passage tomb that we see indicated in the solstice, that we see indicated in your walk this month. And what's coming through is, the march toward the solstice, the days of the solstice. And the last card on the human walk is the spinner. We'll get to that. Spirit wants me to show you this image. So when I was in the null passage tomb, we went in. I intended to do some readings. I put a blanket down. Some readings came out. As I sat down to begin the readings, I had, it's very dark in there. You really can't see much of anything. And so I had opened the door. There's an iron door at the opening. And I had made sure that that door was open, partly because I was a little bit afraid because it's so dark. And I wanted to be able to see what I was doing and et cetera, et cetera. So when I sat down to start the readings, the door shut on its own, just very quietly swung shut. And there we sat, myself and my friend who accompanied me, in the darkness, and 3 or 4 readings came out. And then as the reading was finished, the wind came by and blew open the door, and this is what we saw. That is what it looks like. Spirit wanted me to know on the day of the solstice. And we hear a lot of stories about people who have a near-death experience and experience themselves going through a tunnel and going toward the light. And it was a profound moment of epiphany for me. And so when you think about yourself walking through the days of December, Spirit says, know you are walking in that direction. You are walking euphemistically through a passage, toward a passageway, toward the illumination of the sun. And we see that so beautifully illustrated in your reading. And so, there's a lot of healing that comes to us as we make that transition. As a soul goes across the divide, Spirit says, that is what we see. In a sense, that's the experience that we have. That's what Spirit wants to bring out, if you will. So let's look at this other card. All right, that is a major arcana card. The last step on your human walk in the month of December. This is the spinner of growth. And it is about the sacred tree of life, obviously. Let's see if I can, there we go. All right, so this is about the winds of change blowing into your life. Just like the little story I was telling. All of a sudden a moment comes and the wind comes by and opens a doorway. And the passageway is clear and you can move through it. And the energy that is meant to move into the sacred passage tomb arrives so that a soul can spin outward into its next destination. And for you, Aries, all of these energy set points that have been coming through from Spirit are now liberated to go forward and send out the seeds based on all this beautiful shift and change and growth that you've had on these winds of change that come on this solstice in this particular year, because it is prophesied to be a year of great shift and change, and you have made your way to this destination, being the sacred tree of growth in your own life, producing seeds and sending them out into the world in which you walk. And you know what? Let me toggle back for a second. Do you see the warrior of battle, the very first card on the human line? Spirit says, those are the seeds that you send out. You stand in that way. Beautiful male-centered energy. With the tip of the sword at the spiral. And Spirit says, the beautiful spinner of growth, the tree of life. having come out of the passage tomb, taking your healing from that place, you now stand able to spin your destiny. And last month, that's exactly what the message was. And so here you see it happening. It's profoundly beautiful, Aries. Really, truly. So let's take a look at the card that I call the bridge card. Spirit's correcting me. Spirit calls the bridge card. That causes your human journey to be connected to and transition into the soul journey that you are having. And Spirit's talking about the yin-yang of above and below, what your human experience is as you walk in this place of destiny, how your soul is having its own journey in the mystical realm. And it will be no surprise to you, given the fact that we see the indication of a soul having come from the passage tomb. And from that place, bringing forward healing from that life, death, life process. And the very next step is to be able to send the seeds of that shift and change in order to create new life. So here's the bridge card. And there it is, Aries. That's astounding to me. Isn't that gorgeous? Just look at those cards. So there you are. You have come through the passage tomb. You have been transformed. We see the beautiful Queen of Skill, a goddess in her own right, the goddess of the mystical realm that stands to receive you as you return. And look at just the alignment of the cards above and below, Spirit says. And look deeply into them. You will feel the vibration that you are meant to feel, and you will understand the message in a way that words cannot convey. That's what Spirit's talking about. All right, so let's look at this card. There she is, the Queen of Skill. And you know what I love about this? You see the horses on her dress? That's an indication, obviously, of the movement of energy. And Spirit says we see these horses in the mover card. It's really fascinating to me. And there she has the key of life around her waist, and she receives this child from the mystical realm, renewed, having been through its shift and change process, and ready to start again for a new life. And that, Spirit's talking about the spinner of growth, so let me toggle back for you, okay? There you are. Being able. Spirit's talking about starting again. It's really interesting. And all these indications of coming through the passage tomb, having been on a spiritual level, like the spirit beings that rest in the passage tombs after they die, are cremated, their remains are brought and put in a ceremonial bowl. And in that place, they rest, waiting for the solstice to carry them forward into the next phase of their journey. It's beautiful how this is illustrated. And so I'm going to show you the spirit walk, okay? And we'll talk about that. Before I jump into the cards, I want you to just look into the images and understand the relationship of the 6 cards that will be visible, all right? There they are. The first card is a major arcana card. No, pardon me, it's a prophecy card. We started with the King of Battle, and the story came out about his life cycle. And we're seeing it reflected in the cards so far. And now we see this beautiful child coming through, a new life, ready to take up its destiny. That is the augury of battle. It is the moment just before you put your hands on the sword, a moment of purity, of beautiful intention, of having been transformed, and being able to say, have the knowledge and say the sacred poems and prayers over the sword in order to bring forth the destiny that you are meant to have. So this beautiful, beautiful card is another card that indicates what is happening on the spirit realm as you have your human journey and come through the solstice in this particular year, you stand ready to take the next steps of your destiny. A prophecy about how you will go forward in this beautiful way. And standing right next to it is the beautiful Keeper. That is a major arcana card, and it is the Keeper of Harmony. And again, we see a male deity. Sorry, there's a message coming through. Spirit saying, the augury of battle, the prophecy about how you go forward as a spiritual warrior, an energetic fiery set point, transformed into the wholeness of its nature, possessing both the male and female aspects in order to blend yourself at the deepest. Spirit's talking about the root chakra, interestingly enough, in order to bring into the center place in your energy set point, in your intellectual development, in your heart chakra ability. And that's why we see what looks like a chessboard. It's a game of strategy, if you will, from the ancient days. And so the indication is about bringing the strategy with which you are able to develop and maintain harmony as a commitment, a way of being. Because, Aries, let me transition back so you can see my face for a sec. So there it is, okay? It's a little annoying, but I kind of love that, given the discussion, I love that the sun is illuminating the cards. So there's the beautiful Keeper of Harmony. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Bringing this aspect into the fullness of your awareness, that's what Spirit's chattering about in the background. And wanting you to know that this has been the purpose of your shift and change and development coming through 2018, with the initiations that you experienced and the shamanistic aspects of your journey meant to transform you. Because you're a spirit being here on the earth in this time of Pluto and Capricorn, where everyone and everything, every power structure is being illuminated, and earthquakes, if you will, of volatility in order to shake everything up. And that's what you are experiencing. It is time to bring your energy, your power, your fire into balance with the creative side of your nature so that you are able to maintain the harmony of self in order to be able to participate in creating the harmony on the planet. And that is the message. Isn't that beautiful? That's what the prophecy is about. So let me toggle back to the cards so you can look at them while I cue up the final card in the spirit realm. So what I love about this is it is showing you exactly what Spirit's been chattering about through me. That's the adventure of art. And having the woman of art at the Boyne Valley standing in the center of your reading, again, we see the sort of yin-yang nature between the woman of art and the adventure of art, male and female energy, impetus and flow. It's gorgeous. And so, the adventure of art is about the turning of the spiral, the shift and change that has to happen in a very mystical way, sitting just above the King of Battle, who is all about mystical shift and change. And so the adventure of art is a story, if you don't know, about the bard, the sacred poet, the musician of the clan, whose sacred instrument held a lot of power. It was stolen in a battle. And again, the Spirit's telling me, just reference, make sure you reference the King of Battle, and there's a reason these two are aligned. So there was a sacred battle that took place. And both of these men, this male energy that was engaged in this battle, accompanied by the sacred feminine in the ways that we see, the purpose of that in both cards was to regain that which had been lost or severed. And so, Aries, you have been involved in this gorgeous process here on the earth and also in the spirit realm, reflecting what's been happening in your life. So this gentleman had to go to the place where the sacred harp was being held hostage in a way. And what he had to do, I'm sorry, let me transition over. There he is. Again, illuminated by the sun in this moment. I love it. He had to sing the songs and chant and pray and meditate in order to cause the sacred instrument to literally rise on the vibration that was coming from within him and float through the air back to its rightful place. And he was successful. And so that, Spirit says, it's about this. That's what the story's all about. That's what your story has been about in 2017. It has been about coming to a place where you have the ability to recapture that which has been severed or lost in some way, held hostage. And now you understand what this adventure has been, the artful way of being, claiming your internal art, if you will, through all of these changes. It's funny, Spirit's talking about the mechanism of change. I think that's what that's about. That's the message Spirit wants to talk about, the mechanism of change. And that's what 2017 has been for, right? So in some way, in a metaphoric way, we've all been through this process of shift and change. That, what came through to me is that's what happens to a soul being in a place like a passage tomb. And they are everywhere, all over the earth. We see them in many, many, many traditions. When you come to rest in a place like that, it is about transformation in order for a really important shift and change to come, having been at rest after a long human journey. Now to come to quiet, to the mystical realm, to reap the benefits and prepare your soul to go forward. And that's what this year has been about, Spirit says. For each of us, and Aries, this has been your journey. So let me toggle over and show you the outcome card. And, it's interesting to me because all the things having been said, okay? Talking about being in and out of the passage tomb and resting in this way. In a sense, resting because we have been in, Spirit saying, metaphorically in the passage tomb in 2017, going through all this shift and change. And there's the sacred vessel that Spirit was talking about, being placed in this vessel. And you see, again, this is the judgment of art, another art card. So, if you look at that center line, we see the woman of skill standing next to the woman of art, who is accompanied by the king of battle. And the outcome card is the judgment of art, the art of being a spirit being in a human form and being in the sacred vessel in order for shift and change and new life to come forward on the day of the solstice, sending your ability and your attention across. And, because you have the beautiful major arcana card, the spinner of growth, Spirit's talking about the cycle of change. So if you look at the right hand vertical row of cards, Spirit's chattering in my ear about the cycle of change, and that is the illustration. Yes, it has been a battle. It's been a sacred battle, accompanied by complementary sets of male and female energy for shift and change in all these ways. And the male part of the energy for you as a spirit fire warrior has had to come through to a new set point to reach your destiny going forward, to recapture that which was lost and perhaps just hidden from your awareness. I'm going to show you this card and we'll talk about it a little bit. This is about, do you see the line, the dividing line? We're talking about the solstice in that way, all the way through this card. And the part of the card that has life, abundance, water, new growth, the spirals, a stable base, is the half of the card that sits next to the King of Battle, who went through a very similar process. And so the message is being reiterated. And you are being assured, Aries, that that part of your nature that cannot connect or be stable for your own base, it falls away. That's the purpose of your passage in this moment of solstice. In order to have this new life, I'm going to toggle back. Spirit's talking to me about the cards, okay? So look at the very center line of this reading, horizontally. Do you see the aspect of new life? The solstice, the passage tomb, all of that is embodied, in the center line. And having come through, you arrive in a place of new growth and stability and abundance and tranquility, wholeness, and the unstable aspects fall away because they are not able to sustain us in the new place in which you have arrived. Aries, it's a beautiful message. And to say congratulations feels a little disingenuous. I'm not sure what the word is. There's a lot of love streaming through my heart chakra for you this morning. And in a sense, messaging from Spirit about how profound this journey has been for you and how important that you take these steps and prepare for the solstice and understand that this is real, just as the portals that opened over the summer and the things that happened way back in February when the eclipse season started. And so we've been going through this incredible shift and change all year together. And I want to thank you for being here and for doing all the beautiful work that you've been doing on the inside. And understand that it does reflect out of you. It emanates from you in all the ways we've seen through these cards. I'm going to click back. And I want to leave you with this image and wish you a wonderful holiday season, a very beautiful new year. Celebrate, Aries. You certainly have earned it. Understand the moment you are in. Yeah, Spirit's talking about that it is a deep cause for celebration. I'm inviting everyone to be with me on the 9th of December. There will be a special live stream event. You have to be signed up for those events, so I'm hoping that you'll join us. There's going to be a special reading about the solstice as it relates to all of this development that's happened with every astrological sign. I so hope that you're going to be there. It's going to be sometime in the evening. I'm waffling a little bit with myself about timing. Let me transition back. I want to make it, I'm trying to figure out the best time so that everybody, no matter where you are in the globe, can participate. And there are folks here in the States. There are folks down under. There are people across Europe and in India. So I'm trying to figure it out. If you have any thoughts about that, let me know. So it'll be the 9th. That's a Saturday, in the hopes that most people will be available and able to participate. So the shuffle will be live. There will be plenty of time for the cards to come out, and we'll be able to chat with each other because you'll be able to send messages to me on the live stream chat. So I really would love your participation. I hope you'll join us. And if I don't get to hear from you or see you on that day, know that I'll be with you on the solstice. I'll be thinking about everyone and thanking you from the depths of my heart for all the bravery and the transition that you've been willing to come through in 2017. Have a wonderful month, and I'll be holding you in my heart. Thank you, Aries.